If you thought the action tonight was done, think twice, because the excitement is certainly about to ramp up here with our second event here tonight on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. We just wrapped up the first annual Mid-Ohio 90 presented by Bangarang Hard Seltzer at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course just outside Lexington, Ohio. But now we're here at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway for qualifications for the first annual Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500. For the past couple of years, it's been the Indianapolis 250, but now we're going off of the real-life distance and length. It is the Indianapolis 500. And on the call, as per usual, you just heard the voices earlier in the Mid-Ohio 90. Regan McCauley and Jordy Carraher both out of Charlottetown Prince Edward Island. Jordy, after what we just saw there, that late battle at Mid-Ohio, and now we're getting into Indianapolis 500 qualifying for the biggest race of the year aside from the championship race, and knowing all the conditions, all the factors that are going to come to play here in determining the starting lineup for next Tuesday's race. Oh, baby, how you feeling?
Totally different vibe. For the drivers, it's obviously totally different because, you're not worrying about other guys around you. It is you and the track. Like, this is, it's all down to driver skill at this point. So looking forward to seeing who's able to lay down the speeds when it matters the most. And being able to kind of make that shift from our earlier road course tonight to, the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway, like you said earlier, and not having much time to do it because, not a whole lot of rest time here. It'll be very interesting to see who's able to handle that properly through the field, and I think we might wind up with some surprises, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every single oval race that we've had so far this season, you have seen the parity and the competition come to play. We've had a different winner in every single oval race so far this season. Andy Hurdle, William Kern, Stephen Ellis, and now we have the Indianapolis 500 where, quite frankly, anybody could go to victory lane in this one. I mean, it's the full 500 miles. It's 200 laps. Like, there's a whole long game right there for every single driver here involved. And for tonight, these drivers get an opportunity to, if they want to start up front, have a chance to start up front for next week's big race. Then the time to shine here is now. Of course, for those that do not participate here tonight, you will have to start at the back of the field, which, I mean, it makes sense if you can't make it, because obviously, 500 miles, 200 laps, a lot longer of a race. You have all that time in the world to try and get yourself up to the front. But of course, that's not to say that there could be early carnage. You never know. But again, there's a whole bunch of different factors here at play. I think we have 15 drivers here tonight that are going to try and go for a good spot in the starting lineup for next Tuesday's big race.
Yeah, potentially 16. My understanding is that
maybe that
Dan Cudmore is trying to get back from a hockey practice that he had tonight. So he told me to kind of keep him informed as to when things were opening up, and we pretty much nailed the timelines I was expecting. So we'll see if he's able to make an appearance. He's later in the order, although if only half of the field's here, that'll get shifted up a bit. But we'll see if the number 2 is able to throw down some laps here.
Indeed, and so the way this is going to work here tonight is all these drivers are going to have 4 laps each, and they're going to put together this combined 4-lap average, fingers crossed that they don't wreck. If they're able to make it for all those 4 laps, then their combined 4-lap average is going to determine where they're going to solidify themselves in the starting lineup for the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500. We have you did a random draw earlier for all the drivers that we're looking to enter this big race, and those that are here tonight, we will go in order of those who are in attendance, and you're gonna do your little mathematics and such. You're gonna put in all these numbers and everything. We're gonna see them here on the leaderboard as well on the screen right there.
So I'm more or less projecting as we go along, but we'll have obviously the concrete ticker as we go along too. So we'll be covered one way or the other.
Yeah. And a reminder, too, of course, last season was our first time on iRacing with the IndyCar series. We were using the Dallara IR01 instead, however, a little bit easier. to say the least. But this time around now, it's the Dollar IR18. That's a different story. And with these track conditions, these weather conditions, and just knowing behind the scenes how all the drivers have been practicing with this car, putting laps together, trying to practice for the big race as well, this is going to be a completely different ball game compared to what we had in last year's qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of times now we referred to the IR01 as a rocket ship for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You think hopefully maybe kind of the opposite of what you were thinking, maybe a little more control with the IR18. But as you say, once we get into the nuts and bolts of some of the nightmarish conditions we're looking at for this session, yikes.
Well, speaking of that, there you go. So a couple numbers up compared to what we had earlier at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, so Freedom units, that track temperature converts to like 126, somewhere in that ballpark.
And again, there's going to be the track temperature. There's going to be the wind speed and direction that's going to play a factor as well. Because the wind could end up like down the back. Let's say if the wind direction's in a certain way, a car down the back stretch could have all the speed in the world. But then down the front stretch, it could slow you the hell down. It could be the opposite effect. It might have something to do with how the car handles in the corners. And also as well, too, if you're one of the front cars in the random draw, you're actually going to have an advantage because the track's going to be cooler. It's going to get hotter as these tires get on the track and start to warm it up.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any reason to hold off much longer. I think we turn the heat up now, yeah?
Yes, indeed. It looks as though we are about a moment or so away here from getting qualifying underway. So as each and every one of these drivers come out, we will, of course, introduce them, where they're from, who they race for, blah, blah, blah. There's also, as we were talking about in the pre-race show ahead of Mid-Ohio earlier tonight, we were talking about some new faces, some familiar faces from the past. Like there's a couple of different drivers here within the mix for tonight's qualifying session.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see how they go. But in terms of making a transition, how about going from P1 in our race to slot 1 in qualifying?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I forgot to mention that note whenever we were talking about Sears, their post-race winner interview, post-race show, and all that. Yes, indeed. He's going to go from getting his first win of the season finally to starting this Indianapolis 500 qualifying.
He's just going to get the night over with here. All business for the 32, and I'm very looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Indeed so. Up first is going to be none other than, as we were just talking about there, the guy who won earlier in the first annual Mid-Ohio 90 presented by Bangarang Hard Seltzer, the number 32 of Charlie Sears for 499 Racing out of Charlottesville, Virginia. He will go from getting his first win of the season to starting first in Indy 500 qualifying.
And I mean, with all the variables that you laid out earlier, the opportunity for the 32 to lay down an absolute marker for the rest of the field to chase, this has to be a tantalizing prospect, and the confidence has to be high after finally getting into the winner's circle. So yeah, we'll see what the veteran and one-time pro license holder is able to throw down here as we open up our qualifying session.
Oh no. Already?
Oh, boy.
Really?
Is that how this is going to go?
I mean, these drivers were told that they could exit the track in any way imaginable. If they wanted to clear technically illegally, they would have their black flag cleared. But,
yeah.
Is he going to get a redos allowed?
Well, technically, he didn't start his laps. So that's an interesting loophole. I honestly don't know that answer.
I'm at a loss for words after that.
Yeah, that's not great for commentators to not have words to say, but yeah, I'm right with you. I'm not sure where to turn after that. Oh yeah, I guess he's going for it again. Had to look at the little bug there to make sure it wasn't a replay I was seeing.
So yeah, the driver that goes from winning earlier tonight to whatever that was.
Yeah, just hold on there, Chuck Nasty.
Okay, so we are going to give him a redo here since he wasn't able to actually get to the start finish line for lap number 1.
But I mean, I guess that's the precedent set for the rest of the field then.
I mean, I think that's fair. If you make it to the start, oh boy, he hit the wall there already.
Even a touch there,
If a driver gets to the start finish line, I say after that, it's every man for himself. Like if you crash, you're done. But if you don't make it, then I think a redo is certainly fair. I think every driver should be at least given a chance to get to the line for lap number 1. So the number 32 of Charlie Sears is going to go around here for lap number 1.
Basically, the biggest thing is just making sure it's consistent across the board.
Basically. And again, there's a whole bunch of other factors at play too. There's in-car adjustments, including the weight jacker, which certainly, I was talking to some guys behind the scenes before tonight, where that's certainly going to play a factor. Like, there's those adjustments, there's the track conditions, the weather. Like, there's going to be a whole bunch of different things here at play that's going to determine the starting lineup for next Tuesday's Indianapolis 500, as Charlie Sears is going to come to the line. 220.828.
Okay, thank you. I was very much in potato vision, so I'm very glad you're providing that bit of context for me.
So, of course, the first 2 lap, it's basically the first half of each driver's run is going to be the most difficult. Oh, no! He kept it going.
That's all that matters. It's going to hurt his lap, obviously.
Yeah,
219.808. Yeah, so losing a full mile per hour is going to be a rough go. A couple of tenths as a result.
As I was saying, the first half or so, like the first 2 of the 4 laps each driver is going to get here, is going to be the most difficult as the tires try to adjust to the track a lot better, especially in these slick conditions.
Absolutely so, but again, the main thing is the 32 is still going. Even a little loose out of 4 that time as well.
He's going to come to the line here, and it's going to be a 220.132.
Okay, so first lap still the fastest.
Oh, boy.
But ultimately, it might be a matter of, if you can finish the 4 laps, you just might wind up in a good spot.
Bradley Sexton just said in the live chat, why are we driving on lava?
I mean, he's probably not far off, honestly.
See, this is what happens whenever you generate... This is what happens when you generate weather, and you just got to keep it, because this is what everybody's been practicing on and such. Is Sears gets a 219.860 to wrap up his run.
All right, so that's going to give him an average of 220.156. And there's the opening marker thrown.
And so next up is going to be, I think it might be better for you to introduce this guy. I think you might have a little bit more knowledge.
Not a whole lot, just the fact that he's another member of the 499 family, driving the number 56. This is John Poole III. So obviously 499 family, he'd be familiar to guys like the aforementioned Charlie Sears, Stephen Ellis, our resident keyboard warrior for the night, and of course, Bradley Sexton, our resident construction expert with regards to the lava track circuit. And we'll see if Poole's able to set the track on fire here.
Yep, he just began his first lap. Again, yeah, it's 4 drivers instead of 3 for 499 Racing for the, I don't know if you, what would you put it, the first annual Indianapolis 500, or would you call this the 4th annual just because we've already technically done this before?
I think you can say something about the inaugural 500.
Oh yeah, true, 2nd annual. There you go.
Sure, why not?
I mean, the first one that we did technically was not for points, but again, we do in the record books officially count it for Andy Hurdle.
Yeah, and speaking of counting it, what is that last lap counter saying? Looks like 221?
222.344.
Okay, there's an opening statement for you.
Yeah, that's massive right there. And a John Poole III looking to make quite the first impression here for what will be his first start within the Canadian E-Motorsports Network and the Indycar Series. And these laps, that lap he put together and this one he's about to put up here, he's making it look easy. It's going to be a 221.379 on his second lap.
Well, his opener was 1.5 miles an hour faster than anything that Charlie Sears was able to bring to the table in his sessions. So, yeah, that is, mission statement here from the 56, a declaration, if you will.
Yeah, drivers were tired enough of 499 Racing dominating all the other races, especially the ones where there were 3 drivers. Now make it 4.
Yeah, I mean, Poole's certainly looking good, throwing down another 221.
221.987.
Okay, picked up a little bit of speed there that time. Yeah, this is looking awfully promising here.
Brad has decided to join Steven as another keyboard warrior here in our live chat.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Although I don't know if he's as... what would the term be? I thought I had a term in mind, but I couldn't think of it. We'll get to it at some point. 221.889.
Very consistent across the board from Poole, as that's going to propel him to the top of the board. Average speed, 221.9. 221.902 specifically, so 3 1,000ths off of that last lap.
And so Trevor Binns is next based on the random draw, but unfortunately he is not with us tonight. So instead we are going to go with the number 31 of William Kern for Hyperdrive Esports.
Okay, so that'll be our next competitor here. Again, he would have been number 4 in line, as you mentioned, and winner earlier this year at Pocono. So guy who could find some comfort here in this particular session.
So the Dansville, New York native going to try to get ahead of both 499 Racing drivers currently in the top 2 spots. He's got 1 win on the season so far back at Pocono Raceway. Certainly has been shining in the AJ Foyt Cup competition thus far.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you can shine, quite honestly. Oh, except he hit the wall.
Oh, boy.
That is going to spell the end of his run.
So technically that's our first casualty, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. All right, we'll just throw some zeros on the board as Mr. Marini should be popping out next.
So yeah, because of what happened there to Will Kern, we're now instead going to go to the driver of the number 12, IR18 out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. That is a veteran within the Canadian E-Motorsports Network since, I believe, the very beginning, Mike Marini.
Absolutely, he is.
So a bit of an up and down year so far for the Thunder Bay, Ontario native, but a couple top 10 finishes in there, some above there. Don't know, I'm not sure if he's been able to crack the top 5 just yet.
Not ringing a bell.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Now,
He kept it
hit
going.
anything.
No, he kept it going. Still has a chance.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, Marini has 3 top 10s within 7 starts, actually. That's before Mid-Ohio, of course, though.
Right.
And with what just happened there through turns 1 and 2, Marini's going to come to the line with a 208.013.
Yeah, that unquestionably hurt him. Yeah, lap time would have come out to about 43.267. Looks like he's right of the ship on this particular lap, though, so should see a bit of a spike.
.219.716.
That is more representative.
Indeed.
To say the very
I
least.
think he might have hit the wall there. He's going down to the apron.
Yeah. That is, job done, it would appear.
Another casualty. And so due to that, that means Marini, along with Kern, they're not going to be able to complete their laps. And so that means, since the 15 of Kyle Knowles not with us tonight, next up is going to be the driver of the number 13 car for Central Flyway Racing out of Colby, Kansas. A multi-time NASCAR Series winner, and I think in Formula One as well, Jared Ireland.
Absolutely on the Formula One side of things. The former, our inaugural All-Star Series champion, if memory serves.
And just coming off a top 5 finish here, and earlier tonight, the first annual Mid-Ohio 90.
Yeah.
So got some good momentum going.
100%, just what you said.
Yeah, good momentum going. And on the oval side, it's been decent for whenever he's been able to make a start. Has definitely shown that speed. It's just the finishes, I believe, have been up and down. I mean, we remember what he was like back in the NASCAR Series last season and the season before.
Absolutely, we do. He's a guy who can be a threat just about anywhere. So, yeah, don't be surprised if Ireland's able to figure his way into this particular equation as well.
So number 13, Black Rifle something IR18 off of 4 to the start finish line.
We established it was a coffee company after.
Yeah, coffee company, yeah. 223.341.
Oh boy.
We're into the We're into the 223s now. That's better than Poole.
Well, that's a whole mile per hour faster than any lap that John Poole III put down. So that is a heck of a statement from Jared Ireland.
But it's just going to be a matter of if he can keep that up and if he can make 2:23 a full combined 4-lap average, that is going to be a completely different story here. He's just got to keep this up. So where is he going to get here for lap number 2? A 2:24. 1:32.
Okay. All right. How about these for statements of intent? Yeah.
I mean, a former Formula 1 champion, plenty of other open wheel.
Ow!
And trouble there for Ireland. Apologies there for a bit of a vocal delay. Dealing with some technical issues as Jared Ireland has crashed. Man, oh man, is that ever heartbreaking. 2:23s, 2:24s. And it ends in heartbreak off of turn number 4. Left front tire wobbling all over the place. My goodness. So as hopefully Jordy gets back with us here in just a little bit.
Rather than asking
Okay,
anyone to remember.
So we're back at here. Apologies for some of the technical difficulties there behind the scenes. Jared Ireland, unfortunately, crashing right there. Although, was that the thing? Is though, did he get back though? Because he got the third lap, then he got the 174 there. So I think that's what happened. Again, there was so much going on there behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's where the blood-curdling screams were happening.
But Jose Mercado, the number 41 car for GTR Motorsports out of Kissimmee, Florida, with a 2:21.733 on his first lap.
2:21.733, you said?
Yep.
Cat.
And yeah, I suppose for the live stream you can go back and you can quickly go back and check Jared Ireland's times there. Mercado gets a 2:23.759 next.
Okay, yeah, that's a bit of a statement. 2:23.759. Good for him.
So now lap number 3 for the number 41, Valvoline IR18. He had a bit of a moment there off of turn 2, but he keeps it going down the backstretch. Through 3 and 4, going to come to the white flag for his run. Oh, loose off the corner. And for his third lap, he's going to get a 2:21.260.
Okay, so I wonder... Obviously not as crisp as that second lap. Whew, I can breathe now.
Trying to get Jared Ireland's times here now.
I'll get it between, like, as our next driver comes out.
Okay, Mercado
so Jose finishes with
Mercado 222.582.
Okay, so average 222.329, solid run for him.
Well, that puts him up to the top, doesn't it?
I guess it does, yeah, if we're not counting Ireland.
Well, yeah, Ireland had Ireland crashed and made it back to the line. I think with a 174. So I think it was lap 3 and then lap 4 when he came back with the tire just wobbling. So
it doesn't really matter if I go back and get his laps or not. Then
I mean, if you still want to write it down and see what it comes up with, anyways, might as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are we here? Because I've got a pretty good window to be able to do it now as Higginbotham goes for a warm-up lap.
Yep, that's the number 97 Tornado Alley E Racing IR18 at Kansas City, Missouri. He taps the wall off of 4.
But he hasn't started his lap yet.
Yeah, starting to getting to his first lap now. Yeah, Higginbottom has one career win in the Canadian Motorsports Network IndyCar Series up to this point. Plenty of success over on the NASCAR. Plenty of success on the NASCAR side. He's done well in Formula 1 as well. So trying to put his name into the history books here as potentially an Indianapolis 500 pole sitter and maybe even a winner as well.
Okay, so
220
getting
220.336 for Higginbottom.
Okay. All right, that's in there. Yeah, it was like right around the end of lap 3 for Ireland where I had my ear bleed. So I'll get Higgy's time live, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good. 221.351 for the 97.
221.351, just to confirm?
Yep.
Alrighty, that is in there.
So now lap number 3 for, I believe it's the Boulevard Brewing IR18.
All right, I think I'm good. Just waiting to see. I think I'm just about to come up on. Okay, yeah, I see where Ireland went wide. Yeah, spin. Yeah, contact.
220.709.
Okay. Yep, good.
And looking at the weather info tab here, the track temperature has gone up, I believe, 2 degrees Celsius since we last checked it, and the wind speed has gone up a little as well.
As if it wasn't hard enough before.
And the wind direction's coming from the west.
Oh boy. Yeah, so got, low 220s, high 220s, low 221s. So this would slot him, if he's able to hold, which he will.
221.237.
And that is going to put him into... Oh, whoops. I went one tab off. 221. Can you repeat that?
221 point. Yeah, 237.
Okay, so that slots him in the third, as you can see on the board.
Yes, ahead of Charlie Sears. So Mercado, Poole, Higginbottom, and Sears currently your top four based on all the drivers that have completed laps.
Yeah, and Mercado, like, I think we had a similar situation last year where he was kind of competitive for, a top spot within the qualifying, and he's sitting at the top of the board here right now, and as guys have trouble figuring it out, as you said earlier, it might favor guys getting those early runs in.
This is the number 22 of Bryce Fontaine out of Laverne, Tennessee for Hyperdrive Esports, coming off a 8th place finish in the Mid-Ohio 90 earlier tonight. Also racing with a broken foot, so he's really trying to put things together here and really defy the adversity that's up against him, as he hit the wall there off of 2.
I was gonna say that was an absolutely wild effort for him to perform at Mid-Ohio, but we'll see, as he hasn't been taken off the track yet, so he must be considered still good to go.
Oh, yeah, no, he's still plenty going just fine. You just got to pick that speed back up. Oh, man, as I was saying that, he hits the wall, boy.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to do it.
Yep, slides into pit road, and that's going to seal the deal for him.
Yeah. To put it lightly.
And that's going to send us to our next driver here, the driver that went 5 for 6 here in the Mario Andretti Cup, fell just short of yet again another road/street course victory here tonight in the Mid-Ohio 90, falling short to teammate Charlie Sears. Fishers, Indiana's Bradley Sexton, the number 21, going to look to try and put himself to the top of the board. It's, again, on the ovals, it's been a lot more different of a story compared to the road and street courses. Obviously, a couple of good finishes in there. I remember Michigan, he crashed out in the big one there within the final 15 laps.
Indeed it did. I remember watching that as I was getting my own setup here. And for the record, if I go ahead and do a little bit of Google mapping here, Fishers, Indiana, a 33-minute drive from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so something of a backyard race here for the number 21.
So yeah, home state for Andy Hurdle earlier in Ohio, and then now we have Bradley Sexton here in Indiana. And I guess we might as well remind people watching right now that will tune into next Tuesday night's action of the Canadian Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500. The start time is going to be 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Atlantic. We're moving it up. We're moving everything up an hour because if we were to do the regular time, knowing it's going to be 200 laps, 500 miles, the full real-life distance, might as well try to end it ahead of quote-unquote people's bedtimes.
Yeah, speaking of times, never mind, I got it off the stream.
223.743, so a solid start for the 21. It's just a matter of can he beat Jose Mercado and teammate John Poole
without crashing. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. It's the fastest opening lap of anybody so far.
222.071.
Okay, so a little bit of a scrub off there. So, yeah, it's just a smidge off the fastest lap we've seen overall, which was Jose Mercado's 223.759 on lap 2.
So, again, Sexton looking to translate all the momentum and results in the world from the oval or the road and street course side over to the ovals. Trying to get that first win on the oval side. Joins Stephen Ellis in there in AJ Foy Cup competition as Sexton gets a 222.636 on his third lap. White flag for him.
Okay, so Yeah, low 222, mid 222, high 223. So you'd think balance of that, high 222s, he'll be tight to John Poole.
Jared Ireland behind the scenes clearly showing his disappointment for what definitely was looking like a pole run for the Indianapolis 500. As Sexton's going to come to the line for a 223.177.
Okay, so that got him back up, and that is going to put him at the top of the board. Average speed, 222.905.
Yes, indeed. So that's 0.5 right there out of the 21. That puts him to the top of the board. In a way, it's a surprise. Also, in a way, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think you can necessarily call that a surprise for that caliber of driver, if we're going to be real here. They figure out ways to make things happen.
Yes, Bradley Sexton has certainly proved just that here in Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. Now out onto the track, everybody's favorite driver, the 519E Racing IR18 out of London, Ontario, is driven by Jason Butler.
Indeed it is. And it's been a little while since we've seen Jason, so good to see him back here, and we'll see what he's able to put together. Maybe there's been a ton of prep behind the scenes here. See if the number 10's able to go on a rampage, so to speak.
Something like that. Butler certainly has experience here on the open wheel side and just within the Canadian E-Motorsports Network in general as an advantage to his. I was saying that. He's hard in the wall, turn 1.
Oh.
The slick track conditions get him.
Yeah, in and out.
And that means with Butler done, we're now going to get to the driver of the number 17 Macaulay Racing IR18 out of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Corbin Macaulay, your reigning NASCAR Series champion, trying to finally turn around some of the bad luck that he's been having over this current season of IndyCar racing.
Yeah, I mean, ran, fourth tonight at Mid-Ohio? Seems like a good foundation to work off of.
Yeah, ran about there to start off. He was able to come home with a top 5 finish, so that's one way to try to turn things around. And again, talking with him behind the scenes and even witnessing some of his practicing here for tonight's qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, it has certainly been difficult for him and many others. And he's looking to finally, the one time where finally is able to get those full 4 laps in is now and tonight.
And yeah, we'll see. A lot of guys have been caught out here so far, and it's just a matter of getting those 4 laps in. Like, that'll be obviously the marker here, I think. And I mean, we've seen it already with the number of casualties we've had.
And you just hear the car sliding, like on that first lap, maybe even first 2 laps, you just can't go full throttle, wide open, all around the corners. You have to let off.
And yet, as I look at it, that's where a lot of the fastest laps have happened in that kind of opening lap or 2.
223.063 for lap 1.
Okay. So that's... he becomes the... well, I guess it would have been 3rd driver. I unofficially took out Jared Ireland's numbers because he didn't make it back to the line.
You saw the left side tires there really trying to sneak underneath the white line and hang on.
I mean, that's all you need. Just hang on. Doesn't matter how. Doesn't really matter the method.
223.436.
Okay, so that's a fairly substantial increase. 3/8 of a mile per hour there.
He was sideways off the corner.
And notably in his, provisional pole run, Bradley Sexton had 2 laps in the 223s, but that was his first lap and his final lap. Macaulay's done it in his first two. Let's see if he's able to build on it.
His right rear wheel just about slapped the outside wall there exiting turn 3. And at the line, a 217.172. Yeesh.
Oh, yeah, that is going to hurt, to say the very least. Yeah, it must have been just that snap that you were talking about where that right rear just about bended into the wall. Must have scrubbed, well, it obviously scrubbed just enough to be problematic.
And just to be clear with everybody here, what we're seeing here tonight, or today in terms of the conditions, track and weather both, this is not at all going to be what it's like for the actual race next Tuesday night. I'll get into that in a second here as Corbin puts a 2:22.341 to wrap his run up.
And that puts him into 4th for the moment.
So ahead of Ty Higginbottom and Charlie Sears.
I was going to say, if his third lap had been more representative, though, like, he'd be right there with Sexton on the front row. But instead, just that little bit off, and that cost him 3 spots potentially.
And so, yeah, what I was saying about track and weather conditions, the race weather overall is going to be a lot cooler compared to what we have here tonight. The cars aren't going to be as trimmed out either, so certainly track and weather conditions are going to be... It's not going to be lava compared to what we have here tonight in Indianapolis 500 qualifying, as no better driver to have next than the defending winner of this race. Technically, as he got loose there off of 3, the driver that won the Indianapolis 250 on the final lap in the final corner last season, Darcy Ford.
Yeah, that is certainly him, and yeah, he's just looking to hang on and get his run started.
So yeah, the number 64 driver for 519E Racing out of Harrington, Prince Edward Island, looking to go 2 years in a row, winning here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Of course, this year being the 500 last
wobble.
year. Yeah, big wobble there. Last year was the 250. This year it's the 500. Can he win with another half of the race, just like real life? As man, Ford has been ever so loose here in his run. Oh, man.
Yeah, is he going to hold it? Barely.
The racecraft out of that man, 216.462. Yeah, those loose moments severely impacted him. And there he goes.
Yeah, there's the hit.
And that looks to be it.
Indeed it is. That's all it takes, folks.
Indeed, and now since Stephen Ellis and Daniel Cudmore are not here with us, this means that the number 7 of Andy Hurdle, just coming off a podium finish earlier tonight in Mid-Ohio, is going to go up next. Oh, look at would you look at this contrast? We go from the guy that won this race last year, final lap, final corner, and now we're at the guy who was going for it and had the lead going into the final lap in the final corner, and contact with another certain driver in particular sent them both around.
Yeah, it was his for the taking. He was right there, but yeah, ultimately didn't work out. Like, he literally had the bricks in sight coming out of 4, and yeah, you know that Andy Hurdle's gonna want to right that particular wrong this year.
Indeed, already has a win on the season back at Texas Motor Speedway. Certainly wanting to add a second one to his resume here in 2024, or technically a third if we were to go back to Charlotte Motor Speedway in the NASCAR series. Finally achieved his first career win in stock car racing in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network. And this guy also won the first ever running of this race, the Indianapolis 500 2022. Oh, big hit!
Oh, man. Went and hurdled himself out of competition.
And that's going to be back-to-back 519E Racing drivers that crash out of their run.
And honestly, as I take a look through this. How many clean runs have we actually had? Just 7?
6.
6 clean runs. Who am I missing then? Oh, wait, Marini wasn't a clean run. Never mind.
Yeah. So only, I think, half of these runs have been successful.
Yikes.
And so CD Magram, the number 1 Atlanta, Georgia driver for Tornado Alley Racing, sponsoring Nordic Aluminum, one of the top sponsor/partners for the Canadian E-Motorsports Network, is going to look to try and make that statistic a little bit better in his run.
I mean, yeah, he's got an there are opportunities here because we're getting toward the lean end of the field here now. After Mangrum, we've only got 5 guys left, and we know at least one of them isn't there.
Magram was the 4th place finisher in last season's Indianapolis 250 after qualifying 6th. He's going to try to put in a solid run here, make it 7 drivers to have successful runs. So far, Bradley Sexton, Jose Mercado, John Poole, Corbin McCauley, Ty Higginbottom, and Charlie Sears are the only ones to be perfect thus far. Magram with a 220.927 to start off.
220.927, you said?
Yep.
Okay. So that would put his opening lap kind of in line with what Charlie Sears put down earlier, which would make him, let's see, 23, 5th fastest of the guys who are theoretically qualified right now.
And so after Magram, there's supposed to be 5 drivers that should be participating, but we have only 2. That'll be Hunter Young and Adam Wilson. 223.651 for Magram.
All right, there's a bit of a shot in the dark, so to speak. Not a whole lot of 223s on the board tonight.
As I said with enthusiasm there, yes, great to have a first-year NASCAR Series driver from the recent season back with us for a one-off here in the Indycar Series. Adam Wilson with 1 win at Dover and a consistent threat every single week all season long. As Magram gets a 224.304.
That is the first 224 of the night. Just absolutely blazing lap, but you wonder if the tires are going to hold for this last one. Let's see.
Yeah, 223.759 is the fastest one before that one?
Yeah.
Mercado, yeah, okay.
So, let's see.
At least that's what I see.
Yeah, so Magram, if he's even in the 223s, he'll get on top of the board.
223.947.
Man, oh man, that is gauntlet dropped from CD Magram. First guy to average in the 223s, 223.199.
That's almost 3/10. Or no, that's that's about that much or so there. But wow, how about that out of the Tornado Alley E-Racing driver of Atlanta, Georgia? His season's been very up and down here thus far in the IndyCar Series. Looking to turn things around, get himself up in the point standings for the 2 different championships, Greg Moore Cup and AJ Foyt Cup. Indianapolis 500 pole, and maybe try to even go for a win.
That is just absolutely no messing around from the number 1 out of that particular run. That was outstanding.
Finally, a driver reaches into the 224s, and it is CD Magram. But again, there are still 2 drivers here that have a chance to try and somehow beat him. Starting off with a driver of the number 77 car for GTR Motorsports is St. Catharines, Ontario. Here comes Hunter Young.
All right, and we'll see what the 77 is able to put together. He's a guy that's, he's been in contention, as I alluded to last night. He's certainly been better on the ovals than he has been on the road courses. So we'll see if the 77's able to string a few laps together here.
And a friendly reminder that a bit of an underrated storyline with everything that happened in last year's running of this race. With all the carnage that happened in the closing laps and so, with Andy Hurdle, Dylan Baum, Darcy Ford going on to win, Hunter Young, after qualifying 12th, finished second.
He absolutely did. He's a guy that, he's there to pick up pieces whenever chaos happens. Think of his NASCAR win at Talladega as well.
Exactly. He is a guy that always takes advantage of other drivers who deal with misfortune unlike him. So trying to capitalize on that as he slams the wall there at a 1. So that's severely going to hurt his chances here, as he had a bit of a wiggle there at a 2 as well.
Okay, so it's still going to give him a tie. That's interesting.
Oh, boy. Kept it going.
Okay, yeah, I guess we're still foot in it as long as we can.
About like Darcy Ford there, who was loose everywhere, and then eventually the car gave way. Oh, he's gone.
That's it.
And that means we're going to wrap up with another driver here making a one-off in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500. A driver for, I'm guessing it's Tornado Alley E Racing once again. Instead of the number 21, it's the number 3. Welcome back, Adam Wilson.
Absolutely. It's nice to see our dear buddy out of Laurel, Delaware back in the mix here. And we'll see, Wilson, he was kind of a sneaky guy in the rookie competition last year on the NASCAR side of things. We'll see if he's got a bit of an ace up his sleeve here for quali.
Absolutely. So it'll be a bit of a mystery to see how he can perform here on the open wheel side of things. We knew how he was with the stock cars on the ovals in the recent NASCAR Series season. So with the Dollar IR18, these track and weather conditions, we'll see how he's come out to play here. If he can try to end this streak of bad runs here and have at least one more perfect run of 4 laps. Up the track just a little bit there through turn 2, down the backstretch just fine on lap number 1.
Yeah, we've only had 7 guys complete the 4-lap voyage here so far. If Wilson can get himself into 8th, that, sneaks himself into a really good starting position. All he's got to do is hang on.
And you know what? I'd even argue for a guy like him, with how all these runs have been going, how inconsistent they all are, might as well just try to complete the whole thing maybe instead of trying to go for that highest average speed,
Yeah, but what's Wilson's starting point here?
220.783.
Okay, so for reference, that's only about a 10.5 off of how C.D. Mangrum started. So we'll see if Wilson has a similar ramp up.
And again, the car is going to be a lot more comfortable in these later laps of this run. Wilson's going to come to 2 to go. Lap 2 is going to be a 223.405.
Okay, it is a similar ramp up to Mangrum. Just a touch off. It was 223.651 for our current pole sitter. Wilson about a quarter of a mile an hour off of that.
So the white flag in the air for this Indianapolis 500 qualifying session and for the number 3 of Adam Wilson, as he's going to collect a 223.420.
Okay, so consistency is not a bad thing here.
It's just a matter of where he's going to place overall here with this final lap. If he can, again, make it down the back stretch through turns 3 and 4 and down the front stretch one final time perfectly.
So right now he's tracking at about a 222.5, which would slot him into third if he was able to hold that average.
Off of 4, he's going to come to the line. It's going to be a perfect run for the number 3. He gets a 223.125, or 126 actually. That's going to slot him into the third spot by the looks of it.
Indeed it does. Average speed 222.678 for Adam Wilson.
And so, I don't know if this was changed or not, but I guess maybe we could we'll see if it works or not. Yeah, no, there was no changes. It's not a race winner, it's a qualifying winner, but I guess might as well just do it for the memes. CD Magram is your 2024 Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500 pole sitter.
Indeed so, and I mean, the opening lap, it didn't really look like a whole lot was going to come of it, but then, just all of a sudden he caught fire. With the last 3 laps, it was absolutely insane. And, getting into the 224s, that was your statement of intent for the course of the night. No one else even came close to that.
And again, we didn't fully know what to expect going into tonight's session here as well, with all the concerns about the track conditions, the weather conditions. And in a way, we kind of got what we were expecting, kind of. But, so yeah, 8 drivers were successfully able to pull off 4 laps and put together a combined 4-lap average, with CD Magram coming out on top. Bradley Sexton and Adam Wilson are going to round out the, I guess, quote-unquote podium. Jose Mercado 4th, John Poole the 3rd, 5th, Corbin McCauley 6th, Ty Higginbottom 7th, Charlie Sears rounding out all the cars that were able to complete all of the laps, which means Jason Butler, Darcy Ford, Andy Hurdle, Bryce Fontaine, William Kern, Mike Marini, Jared Ireland, and Hunter Young are all going to be put into some order or something like that. I'm guessing they'll be right in behind those that were able to make a run, since they did participate here tonight, at least put in the effort compared to those that did not show up. But, of course, that will be all figured out later on as we prepare for next Tuesday night's Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500. Points-wise, the first annual. Non-points-wise, second annual. Depends on how you want to put it. You could say fourth annual, since we've done 250s for some time now. It's however you want to put it. But, Jordy, overall, what'd you think of that?
First of all, I'm glad I could still hear you at the end of that. That was very scary early on, I have to admit. And apologies for anyone that I might have thrown off as that all happened, of course. But, you were talking about the challenges of the track here going into this particular session. And yeah, it proved to be an absolute beast. The fact that, out of the 26 that we're potentially looking at racing, we've only got 8 kind of qualifying times, and you could argue the legality of the 8th one. I know certainly the driver who posted that time was wondering about it, but yeah, I think, there's a lot of work to do between now and next Tuesday night, and you know what? It is... it won't be a sprint. It's definitely a marathon. So, just over the next week, these guys are going to have to keep their head in the game, and we'll see how this all goes.
And that's the thing. Tonight was all about dealing with slick track conditions here and a loose race car, but it's going to be a completely different story when it comes to next Tuesday night's Indianapolis 500. While conditions are certainly going to be better, the new challenge is going to be the endurance and taking on a marathon of 200 laps and 500 miles for the first time since we first did this race back in 2022. On the console side of things, this is going to be our first iRacing Indy 500. And so hopefully we will have just over a full field of race cars to do battle in that next Tuesday night. Again, it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Atlantic here on the Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. Live coverage from myself, Regan McCauley, and Jordy Kerher, of course. But with all that being said, that does it for qualifying here tonight for the Indianapolis 500. Congratulations to the number 1 of C.D. Mangrum for Tornado Alley E Racing out of Atlanta, Georgia. He is officially your pole sitter for next Tuesday's race on November 12th. So, with all that being said, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching, listening, and tuning in to all of the action here tonight between the Mid-Ohio 90 presented by Bangarang Hard Seltzer and Mid-Ohio Sports Kart Course and Indianapolis 500 qualifying here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That was the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indycar Series powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue on iRacing. We will see you all next Tuesday night for the biggest race, aside from the championship race, of the season, the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500, Tuesday, November 12th, 200 laps, 500 miles. You will not want to miss any of that. Take care, and we will see you then.